through a mutual friend through massage therapy. I'm a licensed massage therapist. My background before that was I was military police in the Florida Army National Guard. I was injured in 2010 with a back injury, and that's ended up being medically retired after that. So obviously I was looking for different avenues to deal with my own physical pain, as well as the stress involved, the anxiety, your career, pretty much a career-ending move there. Somebody flipped me over on a bus, and I went through this program, and like I said, I came here with no expectations at all. I didn't even know what this place was. First of all, I liked it because I grew up in Central Florida, so this is kind of my environment. So I went here and I saw this place, and then we went and I saw these big cats. That was amazing. That's pretty much the only thing I can really say about that. It's like when you get in the presence of something like that, it's just like, you're just this little, you're just something just like they are, if that makes any sense. So, I don't know, really my first experience it was really hard for me to focus. So it's like really hard for me to focus on it because all I really want to pay attention to is animals, right? Which, as I really think about it now, is kind of a good thing because that keeps you from focusing on the anxiety that you constantly deal with in your head. Because 90% of the time I'm in my head. I didn't realize this until I'm talking to Kevin here, and he's telling me to feel your toes, grab a stick, feel it, smell it, feel the texture and stuff like that. Just stuff that you just don't think about on a daily basis. You just go about your day, you brush your teeth, do your routine, you say hey to people, and don't even really care how they feel. Like, you ask people how you doing, but you don't actually care, you just say it. It's the simple stuff like that. So just picking up a stick, that simple little exercise right there was, for me, probably the most powerful part of it because it was so simple. And then getting the cats involved, it was such like a polar opposite. It was like, holy cow, and then you got these cats in front of me, and then you put the fundamentals of the stick exercise with it. And it was like mind-blowing for me. I was just like, wow. And he keeps asking me, how do you feel after this? I'm like, really? It's like, I can't even remember what the heck I was anxious about. At least at that point in time, I could leave here in 20 minutes later and be right back where I was. But at the same time he explains to me how I could use this during everyday kind of occasions. Not necessarily have to have a big cat in front of you to use this exercise. Like for example, I've used it while I was stuck on I-4 before. Literally been sitting there on I-4 waiting to get downtown and go home, I'm just mad about this, but there's nothing. It's it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. What do you expect? So I did a little exercise, and below and below, I'm like, whatever. It's just like, I'll get there eventually. It happens every day. So, same thing when I'm trying to go to sleep. Your mind races before you go to sleep. You feel the comfort laying on your skin. How much pressure is put on. You feel yourself breathing. You feel the fan blowing. Hear whatever's going. And you just don't focus. You focus on your physical environment, so your mental status, I guess, calms down. At least that's how it works for me. So, as far as big cats, really, it was more of just like an intimidation factor. It's kind of more like looking at this thing, you can feel like you're a big, bad, tough human or whatever. Like, I feel pretty confident in myself. When you look at this thing, I'm just like, this thing, I am nothing. That thing would eat me in 2 seconds. Like, I see the Siberian tiger. So, I don't know, I guess when he stalks you kind of thing, when he looks at you in that weird way, that was probably a profound moment for me.
But it sounds like it. Did it somehow like gave you perspective, or just it put you into a different place?
Well, yeah, it's like that. It's kind of like standing at the ocean, seeing the ocean for the first time. It's kind of one of those moments. As cliche as that is, you just see it's like, wow, you're much smaller than a big thing. So you see this thing, it's 400 pounds staring at you, and you don't know if he wants to play with you or chew on you so.
And that, would you say the experience with Kevin and the animals has changed how you think or how you deal with stuff? Or?
Yes, I mean, realistically, I feel like it is a process. So everybody will be a little different. For me, I feel like two walk-arounds. I'm not going to be cured by no means. Nobody's cured of anything. I think it facilitates change. Yes, it has helped me think differently. Like I said, giving you 2 actual examples that I've actually used it in daily life. So that actually changes things. Changed my perspective. Like, I could have went home and been a jerk, been irritable, more irritable, than I normally would have been driving in traffic. So yeah, of course it's helped, but I mean, it's one of those things. It's a tool in a toolbox. You need to adapt it and use it for your own daily life.
So you have seen more than most people have. You've been in combat.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, a little bit.
You've been over.
It's some sort of like here's my extent of my deployment. I'll be completely honest with you, what I did. I'm not going to pretend I was G.I. Joe or anything like that. I was 6th Military Police Company. I went in December of 2005. We went to Fort Dix, New Jersey. Did our training. Because we got to train up for a few months before we go to Afghanistan. So we did that whole 9 yards. Then we went to Afghanistan. We were there for a year from February of 05 to February of 06. And during that time frame, we were mostly in the prison there, dealing with detainees, which you can't really talk a whole lot about. But we were dealing with a lot of detainees. But with that, you deal with a lot of other kind of stresses. You deal with detainees that actually came from the battlefield. And there's a lot of stresses dealing with them, like, riots, you got to deal with kid glove, because after I'll be grade, there's a lot of brass walking around. Basically, I was E4, so I was just, a peon, just like everybody else, doing my job. And it was a very stressful environment because it was like the management was very, like, micromanaging. And also, we had to deal with these guys on a daily basis, 12 hours a day. We didn't, no sleep, because we lived next to the flight line. Not necessarily getting shot at every day, but then sometimes, they'll decide to shoot mortars at you, and next thing you know, you lose 2-3 hours of sleep because you got guys being a jerk, bombing you. And it's not really scary, it's more of, I was so angry for a year. I'm talking like, come home and it's like, so anxious. That's the kind of stuff that pent up. It wasn't like I was running around getting shot at. I didn't take a bullet, we didn't lose anybody, but it was just one of those, holy crap, I can't wait to get home. As much as I enjoyed the military and I fit well in it, and I explained to him why I liked it, because it's like they tell you where to be, what to wear, and do everything. You don't have to think. Like, I'm not even kidding. The military is a way to go. You ain't got nothing going for it. And to be honest with you, living where I was living, really didn't have a whole lot going for me. So I'm glad I made that decision. But other than that, I'm glad it worked out the way it did, because now I'm here talking to you today. And honestly, I feel like this might be, hopefully, the tip of the iceberg for some people. For me, it's like, this is exciting. I like this. This is something I honestly feel like I can stand behind.
To other vets that you think this would be helpful, what do you want to say to them about, especially with this, how this could be helpful?
I mean, it's not by yourself. I mean, you can't sometimes you need that little push. And I'm not sure what you were taught in your unit, but you got those guys that'll tell you to man up and do all this stuff. Just because you seek out somebody's help doesn't make you lesser than a man or whatever you want to call it. Just this is one avenue that you can look for, but there are other avenues as well if you don't like this one too. It's like, look at the recent tragedy with Robin Williams, It's like, you never know. That guy's a millionaire. He had everything to his disposal. You got these guys coming back making less than $20,000 a year, or not even filing a job after doing what they've done. Come back depressed, and then you can't get a job. Like, give me a break. So
there's this guy, world famous, made everybody laugh, but still had his demons.